Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Pulse Let's Talk. And today we'll be talking about money, how you can be able to stretch the shilling during this time. And with us today, I will let our guest introduce herself, but stay keen because we have goodies for you.
Thank you very much, Sherry. Thank you, viewers. My name is Faith Kaivia. I work with NCBA. I take care of the Go Banking segment. We're excited to have you. So follow through because there's a lot to learn in this session. Thank you, and back to you, Sherry. Back to you, Sherry.
So I will let our guest introduce herself today on our episode on Pulse Let's Talk as we talk about money. So we might be addressing some of the issues you have come across, other things that you might have wanted to ask her. But in addition to all that, as we are speaking, we have some goodies from NCBA. And we'll get 5 lucky winners from our audience to win this special gift from NCBA. So be keen, listen to us. We'll be asking the 5 questions at intervals during the live video, and I hope one of you watching us would be able to get this. I wouldn't tell you what is inside, but the last question that we will ask will have a special touch to it. So make sure you listen to us till the end of the video. So we'd like to start with, there are those people who this is their first time getting a job, they're earning their first salaries, and we'd really like to know what are some of the mistakes that maybe you, Faith, have come across or you have done it with your first salary, mostly the money mistakes that you have made. So maybe if you tell us the mistakes that you've come across.
Thank you, Sherry. Very interesting questions. Of course, I was once young, and just like any other young person, I made several money mistakes. To be precise, let me start by telling you my story. I started working at the tender age of 19 years, very fancy bank job. And guess what? At first, the money I was going to earn felt like so much money. But just like every other young person, I got into the web because apart from managing my pocket money, I didn't have a chance to handle a lot of money before. So I had not formed any money habits within myself. So the first thing I did with my salary, and this is very exciting, is I bought a very big music system. It was a double deck for those who can relate. It was a double speaker, very large speakers. And guess what? I bought it on hire purchase. I didn't know that 5% on hire purchase per month is not equivalent to 5% per annum. So just like any other person who is young, I paid dearly for this music system. It took me 6 months to fully pay for it. So that was my first mistake. Secondly, I think at the time, that's the time mobile phones were being introduced in the market. And I was one of the lucky owners to own a very nice looking Nokia 3310. I know some of us can relate. Well, at least it helped me own one. I would say it was a mistake because probably I would have waited a while before I got a fancy item. But yes, that's the next thing I did with my money. Next, I went and tried to get into fashion. I bought anything fancy, anything I liked or I fancied while I was in school. Remember, I'm 19 years. So I bought a lot of fancy stuff, a lot of fancy clothes. And come end of month 2, I really had little left of my salary at the time. And I could feel this money, as much as it looks a lot to me, it wasn't enough. Probably, maybe, Sherry, you can tell us, as a young person, have you made any mistakes yourself? Sherry, back to you. As a young person, have you made any money mistakes yourself?
So personally, I'll talk about the mistakes that I made with my first salary, and it would be, first of all, pleasing friends, having to feel like you're paying for them because they're your friends. And now, since when you guys are sitting down, you're saying, "Oh, I'll do this for you when I have money." And another thing is always saying that you will pay the bill because you're the only one earning in that whole group. Another mistake is impulse buying. When you're not earning, you start thinking of those things that when I get money, I'll buy myself this. When I get money, I'll buy myself this. But you don't really think about the statistics and even the expenditure and how much it will affect you later on. So, personally, those are the mistakes I made, which I dearly regret. And I hope if you're about to just get your first salary, I hope you will learn from our mistakes. So we
Interesting
want to
perspective.
also go over during these financial times. We know that there are those things that you used to buy constantly, and they weren't really a need. But what are some of those things that you had to bring out of your shopping list because of this time, or maybe because they're not relevant at this financial time? Maybe Faith, if you give us some of the examples of the things that you had to do away with.
Thank you for that, Sherry. And I must say that COVID has brought very interesting times to all of us. And it's only prudent for any wise person to rethink their financial budgets. So I am not an exception. So with this situation, or within this period, I had to redo or rethink my budgets and shop according to a priority lists. And this is how you can go about it. You create a whole shopping list with everything you'd want to buy, create it on one column of a piece of sheet of paper. Then alongside it, create another list of things. But here now, you list what is of priority to you. So you keep pulling out anything that is not of priority and leave it on the side of the main list. And on this priority grid, just keep listing what is more important to you or what is more of priority to you. So by doing this, I was able to see myself push aside anything that was not really a need or a priority. And I found myself actually reducing my budget. And these are some of the things I actually reduced from my lists. Top of the list was I used to buy a lot of junk for myself and the children. So I had to shelve that aside. I had a list with certain luxury items. I consider them luxury because they are more of wants than needs. So again, I had to put that aside. I had a list with a lot of excessive makeup and makeup products. Some I use, some I may not even use, but it's exciting to buy. So again, I had to review that. Gadgets. I had lists, and had a list of gadgets that I probably buy because maybe they are fancy, maybe they are new in the market. Chances are I may not even end up using them. So again, I had to reduce all that on my list. So important to note is that with priority shopping, you have to plan ahead first, create a budget. Out of that budget, go ahead and just pull out and leave items that are main priority to you, and then now proceed with your shopping. Please, if you have to go shopping, avoid shopping when you're hungry. Avoid falling into the trap of huge and many discounts, which could not be discounts at the end of the day, unless you're sure it's really, really, really a discount. So basically, what has worked for me is prioritizing my budget. Thank you, Sherry, and back to you.
Okay, before we continue our conversation, I can see there are people who have already joined us for our live today. We can see Hasibula Faizi. We can see Petronila Mtawali, who is tuned in from Qatar. Thank you so much. I'm also seeing Kante Bulldozer Baba is saying tuned in from Kisumu, Nyalenda. So Kante, I hope that you'll be among us, our winners for our gift hamper from NCBA. We can also see Rachel Kamal saying, "Wow, priority list. I like it. That was nice. I hope you guys are listening and you stand a chance." Our gift from NCBA. We see Kimeo also asking tuko wapi. Tuko Pulse Live Kenya at the moment, and we're talking about stretching the shilling. Irene Shiro says, since I am working from home, I didn't need any makeup budget. That money I am saving to buy more food for my siblings. God bless your soul for that. And Irene, I understand you. In fact, it's the best time to let your skin breathe since you're not now wearing makeup. We can also see Grace Kagenda saying she's tuned in from Karen. Thank you so much for everybody who's tuned in for today's live. Other than that, we'd also like to just find out from you what are some things that now you found out that they've helped you financially from working from home. How has working from home evaded you from spending? What are those things you used to spend on?
Thank you, Sherry. Interesting question. I must admit that working from home has proved to be a blessing because I've been able to save quite a lot. Top on the list is my transport budget. Formerly, I had to fuel my car every day. And because of the number of trips, again, I had to maintain the car, service the car, and all that. So I've reduced a lot on my transportation budget. Secondly, I've saved a lot of time such that I have a lot of time to take care of myself, watch over the children, see what they do a bit of gardening, learn a lot online. Time is money, and I've learned a lot through saving the time. I've also been able to save a lot on eating out because if I have to go work from the office, definitely I have to buy lunch. Sometimes I have to tag a colleague along. We treat each other. But now working from home has helped me prepare my own meals in the house. So the benefit here is that I've been able to save on that, eat healthy at the same time. I've also been able to learn how to DIY, do it yourself. COVID came, and for this reason, maybe you can't frequent the salon, the kinyozi. So I've had to learn how to do things like my own hair, my nails, doing my children's hair and all that. So DIY, do it yourself. I've also managed to save a lot on not attending events. We don't know, but when you're doing your budget, just check how much you spend on attending events. Must you attend all those events? So again, I've saved a lot of money by not attending some of those events. Another thing that I've really saved on, and any parent can agree with me, is children playouts. When we take children to play in the playgrounds and the arenas, we spend a lot of money on that. But now COVID came and you can't check these children there anymore. So what I found myself doing is learning creative ways of playing with my children, doing games together, doing a lot of playtime together, and that has really, really helped me save a lot in my budget. Back to you, Sherry, and thanks for that question. Back to you, Sherry.
Now, since you're a parent, and we've been seeing parents saying that since children are not going back to school anytime soon, some of them have eaten the money, your fees, your second term, na third term. How would you advise these parents to now save for maybe next year and not use the money, the fees?
Interesting question. And the main question is, am I among the parents who have eaten the second and third term fee? Hold that thought. But the best way to go about it is that remember, a good person, a wise person will actually plan ahead. Because remember, schools either way will reopen at some point of time. So schools are likely to open in January or probably earlier, maybe even earlier than we anticipate. So the best thing you could do as a parent is please ensure you've saved up your school fees money. And I like encouraging every parent to use what we call a school fees savings account or gold savings account for your school fees. You put that money there and wait for January because you have no idea. Probably the school fees will be increased. So if you spend that money or you spend all of it, come January, you might need it. And we don't know what other requirements will come with reporting back to school. We might be required to test the children maybe for COVID, and that will cost money. Children have outgrown their uniform, and this is very interesting because my own children are included in this. They have been at home feeding and they have added a bit of weight. So again, some of their school uniforms might have outgrown them. I've seen memes of us parents trying to dress the kids in these uniforms just to put them into use, since we have to buy a new uniform anyway. So again, you never know. You might be required to buy a new school uniform all the way up to the school shoes because everything has outgrown the child. So the point here to note is that keep that money in your savings account for the school fees goal. And at NCBA, we have an exciting account we call the Gold Savings Account. Back to you, Sherry.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for that. So I think the parents who actually bought bigger uniforms, as our parents used to do back in the day, bigger uniforms, bigger shoes, are actually on the safer side of this story. But as we're still talking about saving for the parents and all that, do you think also you get to save when you don't have to pay the domestic workers because you're now doing the job? Actually, you're now at home and you can do it better.
Interesting question because remember, the domestic worker is an employee who probably relies on you to feed their family. So there are two scenarios here. If you can really afford to keep them on the job, please do. If your budget has, if your income has reduced, you can probably renegotiate with them to accept something smaller. Remember, you're keeping somebody else on employment. If you're really, really out of employment, maybe you are laid off, or maybe you don't have any income at all. In that scenario, now you can probably let them know you're not able to keep paying them. And if you're a good employer, kindly connect them somewhere where they can be employed. Remember, they have to feed their family back home. But yes, if you're really stretched, you can do without the house help. Probably this is the time you can learn how to do some of those things yourself. And there are two categories of house helps here. There are those that come as day scholars, there are those that are living on the borders. So if it's a day scholar and probably they come do your house chores 3 times a week, you could probably reduce that to twice or once a week. And if you have the border, I've just said the best thing to do here is basically negotiate to keep them employed if you still have an income. Thank you for that, Sherry.
Okay, and when we were talking about shopping and how now you have to prioritize the things you want to buy and those that you don't really need, how would you advise us to strike a balance between bulk shopping and the Kadogo economy?
Interesting question once again. Um, the two options could work depending on your situation, but let me start with the bulk shopping because it has more advantages. Shopping in bulk helps you shop at a bargain, and probably it helps you buy goods that you could use for a longer period of time. It also helps you indirectly reduce the number of trips you have to make to the supermarket or your shopping spots. And by reducing the visits to your shopping spot, remember, you're actually avoiding a lot of impulse buying. So bulk shopping works. It helps you get enough stocks for a longer period of time. If you're so tight and squeezed by budget, you could probably think of your bulk shopping in a way maybe you could cost share with a friend if probably you can't afford to do the whole bulk shopping or the wholesale shopping alone. You can team up with a friend or friends, buy together in bulk, and share the items according to how much each contributed. Now, the Kadogo economy is also relevant. Probably somebody cannot afford the bulk shopping. So Kadogo economy has proved to work in certain scenarios, and this is how it works. I've learned a lot from people, and there are cases where someone tells me, if I go and buy my drinking chocolate in a sachet, and somebody else buys the same drinking chocolate in a container, I tend to buy it cheaper in the sachet. And this is, of course, because of the cost of branding. The container will cost more. So there are people who have used Kadogo economy to shop smart. You buy a lot of your items in sachets, you empty them into a larger container, And this way you realize you're able to save a lot of money on the side using still your Kadogo economy. And other thing I would advise you on your Kadogo economy, you can probably restrict it to your local shopping area where you just visit the shop and just pick that one item. You just go and say, give me the small blue band, give me the small drinking chocolate, as opposed to going to a main market, because in the main market, you may have temptation to pick a lot of items from the shelves. So Kadogo could work if you're not able to afford the bulk shopping. But if you can afford the bulk shopping, even better. It works. And you can team up with a friend and then share the budgets. Thank you for that.
Okay, so for those who are wondering, how will I bulk shop in a supermarket with those high prices? I would actually just advise you to find out the wholesale outlets around Nairobi. And in fact, they'll be a bit cheaper because even if you save 10 shillings, let's say 10 shillings from every packet of rice you buy, and you buy like 5 of them, you've saved 50 shillings. So it's time for one of you to win this. Our first question will be, mention one mistake that Faith said she made after earning her first salary. Mention one financial mistake or money mistake that Faith mentioned after earning her first salary. So the first person to get this will walk away with this goodie bag from NCBA. And I'd like to go through some of the comments that have been left here for us. Ronald Amuge saying hi to us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Grace Kagenda says, I have a priority list and Loop account helps a lot with savings. That is very true. And also tracking your expenditure. That's very, very nice. We see Coco Chep saying hello. Thank you for joining us today. We're talking about stretching the shilling. So stay tuned, and we have goodies from NCBA. And the last goodie will be the most special. And we hope one of you will be able to walk away with that. Mary Makeba says she's watching the show from Nakuru. Be blessed. Thank you so much. Be blessed too. Nimo Ngigi says, Sherry, those of us who are still going to the office, how do we save during these COVID times? So I will pose that question to Faith, maybe to address that. So Faith, how will those people who are still going to the office be able to save during this time?
Thank you. That's a very nice question. And the best way to go about it, if you still have to go physically to the office, address the main costs that you incur while trying to work from the office. One of these costs could be transport, maybe food, and maybe temptation to shop on your way back home. So the first thing you can do on transport, you can either carpool. If you're using your own car, carpool with a friend and share the cost of fuel. If you're using Uber, you can also Uber pool. You can use the bus ride if it's cheaper for you. If you're working within the CBD, you can take public transport. Remember, it will get you to your spot. So at least that will help you save around transport. But you could also beat the transport cost by the time you tend to go to work. If you go too early, again, there are fewer people on the road, so there's less time on traffic. And I believe if you're using public transport, the fare could be cheaper. Now, on the food budget, avoid eat out. If you must eat out, let it be on very rare occasions. Learn to carry your own food from home or your own snacks and eat from the comfort of your office, or carry your own food. You'll save a lot on eating out. And then now those temptations to buy stuff on your way home, where you pass by, you see nice things being sold everywhere and you keep buying. Again, try as much as possible and shun away that temptation to overshop or to do a lot of impulse buying. So that's another interesting question, and thank you for that.
Okay, so we see Kenya Q saying, COVID is going to make a lot of office businesses into a home office. This will save them money from having to rent out an official building. But Kenya Q is asking, can you teach us more on assets and liabilities to save money? So I'll pose that question to you, Faith, because you're in a better position. So he'd like to know more on assets and liabilities to save money?
That one, we are trying to enter the subject on savings versus investments. And when you talk of asset liabilities, you're talking about what could cost you money, what could make you money. And we can tackle that best when we are tackling, I know we have a session briefly today where we'll tackle the option of savings versus investment. What do you go for, or how do you do both? So let's hold that thought, but it's a very interesting question.
Okay, so I think we have our first winner of today. We see Nimongigi saying, Faith bought a system at a higher purchase. So yeah, I think Nimongigi, you're the first winner of our goodie bag. Okay, so the rest, don't worry, we still have 4 more gifts to give you. So stay tuned. I'll be dropping these questions in short intervals during the video as we have. But Nimongigi, be sure to inbox us your number so that we are able to communicate to you how you'll get your gift bag from NCBA. So as we're still continuing with the talk of budgeting, saving, we know that COVID times came out of nowhere. We weren't ready for this. How would you advise somebody, Faith, to be able to save for these off seasons that you're not even ready for?
Thank you for that question. It all starts with planning ahead or planning well. In real life, we say what gets measured gets done. So you have, first of all, to have a plan, then try and see how you can make your plan real or how you can get it to work for you. So when it comes to money matters, you have to think of what we call a savings goal. And by having a savings goal, you have to make sure and ensure your savings goal is SMART. SMART is basically, it has to be specific, it has to be measurable, it has to be accurate, realistic, and time-bound. Let me give you a practical example of a SMART goal. Let's assume you want to purchase a plot in 2 years' time. So you do your research around and you realize you know the area where you want to go and buy this plot. For explanation's sake, let's assume it will cost you 1.2 million. So the next question you'll be asking yourself is, how do I pay the 1.2 million? So in this scenario, you might have 2 options. If you have all the full amount in cash, you can pay for the whole amount in cash, or you can partially seek financing from the bank. At NCBA, we do finance and we have plot financing, for example. So you come to us, you tell us, I've seen this plot in this and that area, it's going for this much, and I wish to buy the plot. So the first thing we will tell you is that we can finance you up to a certain loan to value ratio, maybe 50%. You have to contribute to the remaining 50% as part of your contribution. So the question is, if you didn't have this money in cash, how would you have saved for it? So back to your savings goal, how you'd have gone about this scenario is you take now your goal to be, I wish to buy a plot in the next 2 years. The plot is going to cost me 1.2 million Kenya shillings. I am supposed to contribute 50% of the value of that project, which is about 600,000. I have 2 years to contribute my portion and the bank to finance me the other portion. So the 2 years, I need to save up my 600,000 shillings. So again, you make your goal real by taking that 600,000, you divide it by 24 months, and you realize you need to save 25,000 shillings per month for you to accumulate a whole 600,000 in the next 24 months. Now, what do you do with this 25,000 you have to save? First rule of the thumb, if you have to save right, you need to automate your savings plan. So you come to the bank, you tell us, I want to save 600,000 shillings for 24 months. I'm able to save up my 25,000 shillings per month. So we will tell you, open a gold savings account. You put up that money there. And in the next 24 months, you'll have your 600,000 shillings intact. And with some interest over and above that, depending on what type of account we put in and the period of time we held that money. So the point here is your SMART savings goal was very realistic. It was time bound. Remember, it was real. I need 600,000 shillings in the next 24 months. So the actual value you need is the accuracy of your goal. The 24 months is the timing of your goal, which has to be realistic. Don't stretch yourself too hard. You have to make it as realistic as possible. It is a smart goal. Depending on the income you're earning, when you arrived at the 25,000 shillings per month, you probably figured out it's something you could afford depending on the levels of your income. Let me make it easier. Did you know you could have a savings goal? And with every savings goal, I say save according to your earning cycle or according to your earning pattern. Let's say you're self-employed and probably you make your income on a daily basis. Do you know you don't have to wait at the end of the month to do your savings? You can automate your savings plan to work for you on a day-to-day basis. Let me take a practical scenario. If you're self-employed and you can save 100 shillings per day, Sherry, how much would that be at the end of 1 year, 12 months?
36,500.
That will be very true. If you save 100,000 shillings times, that is 365 days a year, that will be 36,500 shillings. If you're young and probably over time you're able to make more income, keep graduating that savings goal with every new income level you get into. So over time, you realize you're able to achieve a lot of goals. So basically, the best strategy here is have a goal, make it smart and real, then calculate it out. And it can actually really work. If you're able to save 5,000 shillings per month, for example, at the end of 12 months, how much is that? That's around 60,000 shillings. So make your goal smart, actualize it. And for you to actualize it, actually automate it. And I've told you practically, you can maybe sign up a standing order from your current account to your savings account every month without manual intervention so that the automation works for you and shun you the temptation of trying to touch and spend that money at any given point of time. So your goal has to be very, very smart. Back to you, Sherry.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And I don't know if you're conversant with this, Faith, but in this age and time, there's a lot of pressure from social media, from our peers who are even doing shoddy jobs to get a lot of money. There might be that time that you get to live off your means or you're going off your budget. And at times you don't even realize it till that time when you need that money and you remember, oh, I used it on this irrelevant day or this irrelevant product. So how can we ensure that we're living within our means and we're not going off our budget?
Very interesting perspective, and thanks for that. Actually, I like calling that keeping up with the Kardashians. Now, how do you avoid living off your budgets? First rule of the thumb is planning and discipline. If you plan it and add discipline to it, it's going to work for you. Secondly, there are other things that entice you to live off that budget. Things like you went window shopping, you saw that nice dress. I told you that earlier. We went online. These days we shop online. If shopping online, you saw some nice gadgets, you're trying to buy them. So you have to shun off that pressure to try and buy that thing that probably you might not be ready to buy at the time or you had not planned to. The key word here is plan for it. If you are not planned for it, please don't try and buy it until you're able to plan for it financially and you're sure you're able to actually go and buy it. A lot of young people do a lot of road trips. Probably this weekend is to Naivasha. Next weekend, I don't know is to which location. Do you really have to do those frequent road trips? Every road trip will cost you a lot of money. Again, that could come as a result of pressure. So for you to live within your budget, I'll just leave you with something that states, knock off the peer pressure. In capital letters, knock off the peer pressure. Back to you, Sherry.
Okay, so it's time for our second question for you guys to win this bag of goodies. So Faith has told us that there are two things that can help you to live within your means: dash and dash. Faith has told us about two main things that can help you to live within your means: dash and dash. As we wait for our second winner, we can see Kenya Q is saying, during COVID, if you want to save the shilling, you need to know what you need and what do you want. When you go for what you want, you will lose money. But if you go for what you need, you will save more. Kenya Q, you're a very, very wise person. So I think actually people should know what you need and what you want. Needs most likely are the priorities and maybe the basic needs in life for you to survive. And wants is something you can do without. So we're currently live on our Facebook and YouTube page on Pulse platforms and NCBA platforms. So feel free to engage us on whichever platform that suits you. We can see Naomi Maurice saying, amazing topic. Thanks, Pulse. And she has said, I think she was answering to the first question, which is she bought a very big music system on hire purchase. But unluckily, Naomi, you weren't lucky to get that. But I've asked a second question. What are the two main things that Faith has mentioned to keep you living within your budget? Let's see. Okay. Kenya Q says banks are businesses, especially when they give you a good rate. Kenya Q says, Pia, it's also hard to save money, especially if you don't know how to save money. Kenya Q, in case you're the person you're talking about, by the end of this video, I promise you that you'll be taking away so many points that maybe you never knew. You'll find even easier ways to save. Grace Kagenda says saving and doing away with things you don't need. Unluckily, that's not the right answer. Irene Shiro says living within your means and budgeting. Irene Shiro, you're also not right, but we have our second winner. We can see Mercy Bob says planning and discipline. That is very, very true. So our second winner is Mercy Bob. So kindly just inbox us on our Facebook page, your contacts, so that we'll be able to reach you out and how you'll get your goodie bag from NCBA. So when we're still in this, because Kenya Q is asking about how people might not know how to save money. Faith, when do you think is the right time for even parents to start cultivating this saving culture in children?
Thank you. Another a very interesting question. And to respond to that, of course, it all depends by how and when you learn money habits. When it comes to children, what's the right age to start introducing children to money language? At a tender age of 3 to 6 years, you learn a kid knows certain things about with money. That's when you hear a child telling you, buy me a sweet, buy me lollipop, buy me that, because they have learned in their own unique young age, they have learned that I need money to probably get something. Now, at this age, 3 to 6 years is what I like calling the piggy bank age. This is where mostly a child will learn through visuals. They will learn by what they see. So at this point of time, you can probably introduce your child to the piggy bank concept, and you can have one or two or a jar. You let them know we're going to put money in here because we might need this money to buy ABCD. And anytime we need to put money here to buy something, if we need to buy something, we have to remove it and then show them where it goes by putting it in a spending jar, just for them to visualize and see how it works. You put it in a jar, you remove it, it's less. You put it here, it means you have spent it. So that's the age 3 to 6. Now, our research has shown that children start forming money habits, or actually get the gist of money habits at the age of 7 years. So by the time your child is turning 7 years, you ought to have let them know about money language. You ought to have let them know about money habits. And at this time now, you can actively involve them in money-related subjects. And a good example is you have to expose them to platforms where they can learn a lot about money. Of course, for example, at NCBA, we offer financial literacy programs for young children, so you can engage us. You can do it online. If you're good with money as a parent, you can teach them yourself. But by the time they are age 7, try and teach them about money. Let me bring it closer home. If I may ask, if you look at the Kenyan environment, one of the communities that is known to handle money matters very well, and please pardon me for this, is the Asian community. Why? I'll tell you, because I've worked in the banking industry for long. This group of people, they actually introduce their children to money habits at a very tender young age. They teach them how money comes in, how they make the money, how they earn the money, why they take money to the bank, why they maybe tomorrow a bit of that money from the bank and maybe invest in their businesses. So they expose them to money language early enough. And by the time they are older, they really, really know how to handle these money habits better. So the first thing you have to know as a parent is, by the time your child turns 7 years old, make sure they are very clear on money language. Now, when your child is turning 11 to 13 years, this is the preteen to the teenage, at this point of time, you can involve them in higher money matters. And a good example is you can probably start engaging them now in your planning details for how you shop or investment details. You can let them know now, this is how we are going to do the shopping. This is where we'll do the shopping. And this is why we'll shop at this spot and not this one. You have now to start letting them see and understand your purchase decisions. On what basis do you make your purchase decisions? And a good example is you can probably tell them why we cannot shop on this shop, while else we can shop on the other one. Is it about the quality? Is it about the quantity? Is it about the value? So at this point, you are basically letting them know and understand how you make purchase decisions, what informs your decision. Is it your budget? Is it the quality of the item being sold off or bought off? By the time they turn above 13 years, that's 14 to 18 years, here now you have to start involving them in other money matters. And here now you start talking to them about the investment language. This is where you have to teach them about compounding, money making money for you, certain investment decisions. But remember, they are children, so you have to guide them. Even as you involve them in your purchase decisions, remember they are kids or they are children. You might not have to tell them certain things like mommy or daddy bought a car at 10 million. They might tell their friends. So you have to make sure you control what you tell them, but introduce them to the investment subject at that time. Let them know how compounding takes place. Let them know what investment options are there available locally and outside the country. And start now having that frequent investment language with them. So to answer it and to keep it brief, by the time your child turns 7 years, make sure they know a lot about money matters. Back to you, Shiri.
Thank you so much. I know we even have parents watching us at the moment, and I hope you'll be able to take away this and just be able to know when you can start cultivating this culture. Because as a observation, I observed that those kids that are used to earning their money, they have a better saving culture as compared to just those who are just used to being given money. You don't have to do anything or work for it. But those who have worked or earned their money from a young age, they actually are having a better saving skills, as according to me, honestly. But you can tell me, in case you're one of those kids who used to be given money, but now you can still save, tell us also. What do you think, Faith?
I actually concur with you, Sherry. It's good to let your child know how to earn money, spend money, save money, invest money, and even donate some of it. And the best way to go about that is when they are younger or when they are young, introduce them to things they can do around that they could make money from. And while at this, please exercise care, because you can't pay them for responsibilities that they are likely supposed to do. You can't pay your child because they made their bed or did their homework. That's their responsibility. They're supposed to do that. But if they do for you chores that you would have otherwise paid for, like say washing your car, gardening, if you normally pay a gardener to do that, if your child does that for you, let them earn their money, pay them. Let them know if you work, you make money. And now when they make money, to entice them more, you can even match what they have earned. And that's where now you introduce them to the bank. You let them know, go open your own account. This is where you put your money. This is how your money grows. And they'll get used to the culture while young. So interesting perspective, and it's true.
Okay, we see that there are those people who maybe they're first-time earners or there are those people who are getting another source of income from what they're used to. What percentage would you advise somebody to save from their income?
Thank you for that. Interestingly, I will introduce you to what we call the 50, 30, 20% rule. And I know somebody asked a question earlier, and this is how it goes. 50, 30, 20 rule simply means of your total income, 50% should go to your needs. And needs are things that you really, really need, the basics of life, shelter, clothing, and food. Maybe medical bills, fees, and all that will go into that category of the basic needs. So 50% can go into that. 30%, you allocate it to another grid we call the wants. Wants are basically things that you might need for convenience. Things like the Netflix you have, the GoTV, the DSTV, the Wi-Fi, all those things are actually for your own convenience, entertainment, all that you put in that grid of the 30%. The remaining 20% is what you put in your savings kitty. So you have to save 20% of your income. If you're that young person who is probably making 20,000 shillings on your small business or maybe your startup job, 20% of your 20,000 shillings is how much? 4,000 shillings. So you can take your 4,000 shillings. Remember, I mentioned earlier that you have to automate your savings plan. And now, from your main account, sign a standing order for 4,000 shillings to be saved on a regular basis on your savings account over a period of time. So that way you realize you have some savings left for you to work with. Should you grow in your business, in your career as a young person, remember you will grow. Your income this year could not be your income next year. As your income graduates, keep graduating your 20%. If for example, your income doubles from 20,000 to 40,000, your 20% now will be how much? 8,000. Keep up with that and keep graduating your saving with your growing income. I got a very interesting question earlier. Somebody asked me, if I'm a Christian and I have to tithe, between this 50, 30, 20 rule, where do I place the 10%? Interestingly, what you have to do is before you subject your income to the 50, 30, 20 rule, subject it first to the 10%. I'm a Christian myself, so if you have to tithe, subject that to the 10% first. Now, whatever remains after subjecting that to the 10% is what now you split between the 50, 30, 20 rule. Mm-hmm. So back to you, Sherry.
Thank you so much. So even for those strict Christians who are like Faith, you have been told that 10% unaitoa mwanzo, then now you can subject the rest or the remaining balance to the 50, 30, 20 rule. So it's time for giveaway. Wait, let me read the comments first. Bonnie Champ has said, good saving tips here. Thank you for watching us. I hope you're really learning. Nimo Ngigi says, 7 years, I knew all cash I get is for sweets. As a parent, I will do different, Aki. That is very true. I also learn a lot from here. And I'm also planning to put some of this in place. And as you're doing it, keep in mind what Faith said. If your child, you should be able to discern between a responsibility and a chore or something that you might have paid somebody else to do it. So also just cultivate that, where children get to learn at as low as 7 years, get to learn that they have to earn their money. Weritab Tapkili says, Nimo, this is the time. Now, she should start from now. Thank you so much. Gashihi Jennifer says, thanks, Pulse, for this message. You're welcome. By the end of the video, trust me, apart from goodies that we have for you, you will have a lot of saving tips, investment tips, everything under money. And as we said, we're talking about stretching the shilling. We see Wahinya Masharia says, I remember I used to save quite a bit when I was 9 or 10. I saved enough, and over the weekend, I would take myself swimming and pay for my transport and lunch. I wish I could clap for you, Ahinya. That is really nice. And I think that has impacted how you work with your money as of now. Gashihi Jennifer says, Sherry, today you look so gorgeous. Thank you. Thanks for noticing. uh, then we can see Wahinya also says, the first pair of shoes I bought from my pocket was from my savings when I was 11. Imagine a pair of shoes worth 1,000 in 1997. Wa enye pia wako na roho. 1,000 at that time, you buy shoes and you are 11. Anyway, congratulations. I'm so sure that these tips are actually helping you now. Gashihi also says, woo, that's awesome. The same thing I used to do and even support my mom, and she will refund later to me. I have an issue with that. Moms, if you're watching, you usually just trick your children. You tell them to give you money they've been given by their grandparents, and you say you will refund. A very small percentage of you guys return our money. But anyway, your mom was a blessed one. Thank you so much. Weritab has said that he's taken away the 50, 30, 20 rule. I hope that he'll be able to practice it. Abelito Milon says, I'm in Qatar. How can I do this? So I think, Faith, can you help Abelito on how he can be able to do this even from all the way in Qatar before I pose the third question?
Thank you. Thank you very much. And the best way to go about it, even in Qatar, you can actually get in touch with us at NCBA, and we'll definitely help you automate your savings plan. All you need to do, and if you have pen and paper, please take this number down, 0711 056 444. Of course, it will be shared on our page. Call us and we'll guide you. We have what we call the diaspora account or the diaspora savings account. So basically, we can actually help you save and actually help you automate your savings plan. But remember, like I said earlier, for the starting journey is you plan it first. What's measured gets done. So measure what you want to save on the basis of the income you're earning. Then come to us. We'll definitely help you get that account that you can automate your savings plan.
All right. So for our third question, for you to stand a chance to get this gift hamper from NCBA is, Faith has said that the perfect time to start cultivating the saving culture is at what years? Faith has mentioned that at what age is it mostly advised to start cultivating the saving culture in our kids? So I'm waiting for your answers. The first one will be able to get it. Oh, Weritab Tapkili. Amesema 7 years. So Weritab, the gift pack is yours. You're our third winner of the gift pack. And so we'll move over to there are people who really don't know some of the benefits of being a formal bank account holder. Maybe, Faith, if you take us through it so that we are able to open an account in case we don't have one.
Thank you for that. And actually, I'll start by saying for you to start savings, you need the tools to help you start saving. And the first tool you need is a bank account. The best option for a savings plan you might have is a savings account first, where you could put your emergency funds. Definitely, we have other products that help you save up. Products or solutions like our fixed deposit, the call deposit, the money market fund, and all that. So question is, what are some of the benefits for having these accounts with any bank or even our bank? And we invite you to have them with us. The first benefit, of course, is what we call the capital protection or principal protection. Basically, what I mean by this, if you look at our parents, our grandparents, traditionally, how most of them saved is they put the money somewhere in the house, in a tin, under the mattress, and all that. There were risks involved with having that money there. Probably a thief would take it, a rat would eat even the money. Something would happen to the physical hard cash and it would disappear. Now, when you save your money with the bank, you have what we call principal protection. And what I mean is, you gave us your 10,000 shillings in your savings account. That is what you still find at the end of the day, plus whatever interest will have been earned based on the amount or the value the balance you have on that account, because interest rates are tiered according to your bank balance. So there's principal protection. Secondly, there is the interest earned. Thirdly, there is an option. Whenever you go to the bank to borrow, have you heard of the bank asking whether you have a relationship with a bank or any other bank, and they ask you for a 6-month statement? We may ask for 1-year statements and all that. What are we trying to establish? We are trying to use the statement as a way of trying to learn your money habits and how you spend, and or whether you have any income coming to your account, and how maybe how your money habits look like. Do you pay debts? Are you actually do you unpaid checks and all that? So we try to use this statement to actually check your money habits. So having a bank account helps you establish a relationship with the bank, helps you create a cash flow in your account, or those cash flows the transactions we try to look into when we are trying to borrow. Did you know that actually you could use the money saved in the bank to borrow against? We have what we call cash covered loans. You probably have your money in a fixed deposit. It's running for a whole year. In between, you need some emergency fund and you don't want to break it because of the contract that you might forfeit interest. So you can come and tell us, can I borrow against my own money? That is called cash covered facility. We use your own money as security to lend to you. So the benefits for having a bank account are innate. There are many, and those are the major ones. But Sherry, I know you're my customer, so tell me, what are some of the benefits you found with having a bank account?
Now, I'll speak about not the serious terms and now all the ones that you're expecting, but I'd say that the sense of belonging, the sense of just being a member of any group, including a bank, has that you feel like you belong. In fact, when NCBA has the event, and we're the first people we're actually told about the event. So that sense of belonging is one of the things that I found as a benefit of being a formal bank account holder.
And I agree with you. I can't agree more. I've just mentioned we do financial literacy programs for adults, children, name them. So who do we reach out to first? Of course, we'll reach to a person who is already a customer of the bank. So the benefits are there. There are many events at NCBA. We've done many and we are still doing more. So definitely the first person we'll look out for is our bank customer. So those are the indirect benefits of holding a bank account. Back to you, Sherry.
Yeah. So, okay. We can see Gashihi Jennifer saying, woo, that will help a lot of us in diaspora. Please, Sherry, can you pin that number? So I'll just pose it back to Faith for her to be able to say it again, but we will pin it as a comment in case you miss it or in case you want to revisit our video later when you're ready.
Thank you, our viewers from diaspora, the Qatar one, and the other person was just mentioned, the diaspora. You can reach out to us on this number. We will pin it on our page, 0711 056 444. So we'll pin it on our page, get in touch, and somebody will be ready to help you on how to go about it.
Okay. So we can see Vincent Ayeta saying, can I save 20% in SACCO? The 20% that we had talked about earlier.
Very nice question. This will be guided by the reason as to why you want to save with the SACCO. Of course, SACCO is a good saving tool. So it depends on the type of goal behind this savings plan. If the goal is emergency, and emergency means these are funds that you could quickly access for a certain emergency or might need when you don't know when. A medical bill for a parent, for example, is an emergency. Remember, if you put it in the SACCO, you cannot access it immediately. If, however, you're saving it up with the SACCO, so maybe after 6 months or after 1 year, you can borrow up to a certain number of times of your savings and maybe invest in that asset or that investment option you choose to use. Definitely, it's a good idea. So it should be guided by your reason for saving. Emergency funds should be in an account which you can quickly access as liquid cash. And that's where we draw a difference between savings versus investment. When you save in a savings account, that is a savings because that's cash that you can easily access as liquid cash. When you save in a SACCO, that is an investment because that is money that you cannot access immediately, but it could help you in future, maybe especially where you want to borrow. I know most SACCOs lend either 3 times of your savings. So if you saved your 100,000, you could borrow your 300,000 and maybe buy that plot or that item that you really, really wanted to buy.
Okay. We have another question from Charles Colgate saying, my question is, when I automate my saving, will I specify saving percentage to be constant in every month?
Thank you for that. You specify to us the amount you want to save, but we hear you. We are getting to that digital option of where we can automate by the percentage. But as of now, you just tell us, I want to save so much per month. So you sign a standing order and the money goes into that account on a regular basis. And I like the thought. You're already thinking about automating your sales plan. That's a very great idea.
Okay. So, Faith, we usually hear of the statement that you have to spend money to make money. How would you advise us to spend less and make more?
And I like the question that I said we posed earlier, where somebody asked about liabilities and assets. A liability will actually keep taking money from you. It's like a burden in a way. Some people like to consider a vehicle a liability, others like to consider a vehicle as an investment, depending on the purpose as to why you have the vehicle anyway. So a liability will keep taking money from you. An asset, on the other hand, will make you money. There are two ways an asset could make you money. It's either you're earning a profit from it. A profit could either be interest, could be dividends, it could be something over and above how you bought that item. Or it could make you a capital gain. Let's say you bought a plot this year and you sell it 3 years down the line. You bought it at $1 million, maybe 3 years down the line, it will be 2 million. So you sell it at another 2 million, you subtract how you bought it, of course, that's the capital gain. Another example is stocks. You probably buy them now, you sell them after a while, or maybe after several years if you have to get a good deal, and you can do that through our NCBA investment arm. You actually can earn from the dividends of those stocks. Or later, if you decide to sell them off, again, you can get the capital gains, the difference between the buying price and your selling price. So basically, it's dependent on how you bought it and when you want it to make money. Most deals make you money if you dispose them long term. You can't buy a plot today and expect it to make you money in 2 months' time. You can't buy stocks today unless you are lucky. You get that lucky IPO and expect them to make you money next month. So you have to time your investment idea. It should either be mid-term, long-term, for it to make you better returns, and use that option. I like her saying that I got from a person I follow online called Phil about investing. And he said, if you want to be sure you're making a good investment, investing is like shopping at a garage. You simply look for something you understand that's selling at a great price. That way, you'll consider yourself having invested. I can repeat myself. Investing is like shopping at a garage sale. You simply look for something you understand that's selling at a great price. You buy low, you sell high. That's the trick with investments.
Thank you so much, Faith, for that. So it's time for the fourth question. And I'd like to ask, what is one of the benefits that we have talked about in being a formal account holder? What is one of the benefits that we have talked about in being a formal account holder? So now, as we wait for our next winner, Faith, there are people who during these times, they've either lost their income or their income has been negatively affected. How would you advise somebody like this to start getting another source of income?
Thank you. And that's a very real question because that's the reality on the ground. The pandemic has affected most industries. Of course, we have people who have been laid off. We have people who are on half pay. We have people who are on unpaid leave. So a lot of people have really been affected. So the question is, how do you make an income, or how do you start making another income? I like starting by saying, start from within yourself. And starting from within yourself is where you ask yourself, what skill do I have that I can sell out there and it makes me money? So you can have a skill, perfect your skill, and figure out ways of making it work for you. Now, I do a lot of youth mentorship, and what most youth tell me is that we have these great ideas, we have these creative skills and all that. The challenge we have is probably the capital to kick us off. Where do you get this capital? Assuming now that you don't have an income, of course, you cannot borrow that money from a financial institution because you have zero income. This is whereby now you use your negotiating ability or your negotiating power. You can single out a potential partner, negotiate with them, let them know the skill you have that you have perfected, that you can put on the table. So you bring your skill to the table. The partner brings their capital, which is financial boosting or support, to the table. You both negotiate and agree and make an agreement, and you work it out together. That's one way. So you perfect your skill and sell your skill. If you need capital to propel you, you can partner, especially if you don't have an income. If you still have an income and you need to propel this skill, the fact that you have an income means you could come to the bank and we can probably arrange a facility for you. That's one way. Another way is using technology. And Sherry, our discussion earlier, you told me a lot of people in the creative industry use they use technology and internet to make a lot of money. Again, probably technology could work for you to make money. So you have to go out there, research, and find out how you can use technology to make you money. Another way to go about it is probably this is the time to start that business you've always procrastinated. But caution, don't start a business that you do not understand. Don't inject too much into a business that you probably haven't gotten your first clients. Know where your clients are and reach out to them first before you can put in so much. So you have to be cautious around starting a business at this time. You have to research it well, get a mentor in that line to guide you. If you work with a mentor, you're actually likely to learn from their lessons, or maybe likely to learn from the pitfalls they found on their way when they were trying to grow their business. So yes, you can grow the business, or you can start that business. Should you start that business? Do you need a brick and mortar? I've seen the comments flowing, and somebody mentioned we are now off the brick and mortar premises, offices, and all that. Do you really need to pay all that rent for that brick and mortar building so that you can station your business there? Not really. You could probably sell your items online. All you need is a good marketing plan and figuring it out how your product will reach your customer. Maybe a good rider company, or maybe a good rider who can actually deliver your products to the customer. So those are simple ways you can actually start thinking over another way to earn income. But remember, it all starts with a plan, and your plan must have tangibles. Tangibles means your plan must have numbers in it. Thanks, Sherry.
Thank you. Thank you. We have our fourth winner. Irene Shiro, you are nearly giving up. I have seen your comment. You are saying that you didn't win, but you're our fourth winner. She said one of the benefits of being a formal account holder is capital protection. That is nice. And you're our fourth winner. Bonnie Champ, you said you can be given loans and overdrafts. You're also right, but unluckily, Irene alikuwa amekutangulia, but we still have one last special gift for whoever will be able to answer our last question. So in the meantime, I would just like, first of all, for Faith to just give us the last remarks or anything that we can take away, maybe just short notes that we can take from this whole video and this whole informative and educative video that we've had today. Any closing remarks, Faith?
Thanks, Sherry, for that. And I would like just to give a few light bulbs. Light bulbs means those ideas that you just carry on. And let me mention a few that I felt worked through the session. First one is on investing. Remember the quote? Investing is like shopping at a garage. You simply look for something you understand that's selling at a great price. So first of all, you must understand it, then it's selling at a great price. That's an investment. Another light bulb we've discovered today is knock off the peer pressure. And I said that is in capital letters. Knock off the peer pressure. Be your own person. Just do things on your own accord. Have a to your plan. Another light bulb is smart financial goals. And I defined SMART for you. And all I can say about SMART, let your goal be very realistic. Let it be tangible. Put figures in your goal. Make it time bound, and it will work for you. I want to save X amount for X reason within this period of time. That's a very smart goal. The other smart nugget or light bulb is automating your saving plan. Automate it. Remember, we said what gets measured gets done. Automate your savings plan so that you don't have that manual intervention or temptation to keep touching that little money in that special account that you've set aside as your goal savings account. So automate your savings plan for it to work for you. When it comes to savings for an emergency fund, save at least 3 to 6 times of your income. I can give you a practical scenario. Save 3 to 6 times of your monthly living expenses. My correction there. And I'll give you a practical example. If your living expenses are maybe 50,000 shillings per month, for you to start a good emergency saving plan, you save 3 times of that. So 50,000 times 3, that's 150,000. But remember, I said 3 to 6 times of your monthly living expenses. What if it's 4 times? That's 200,000 shillings. It gets more interesting as it gets to 5 and 6. So basically, save at least a minimum of 3 times your monthly living expenses. That way you can say, I have an emergency savings fund. Grow your savings with your growing income. Remember where I said, as your income grows, remember to review your savings plan. Don't save 1,000 shillings this year, and next year when your income doubles, you're still saving the 1,000 shillings. Remember to keep graduating your savings as your income grows. And remember, you can save according to your earning cycle or pattern. You don't have to save monthly if you earn weekly. You don't have to save weekly if your earnings are daily. So make your savings plan concurrent with your income earning pattern. Teach your children money habits. And we've been through a whole lesson, and we agreed all children form money habits by the time they are 7 years old. So by that time, make sure they understand a lot about money. My last light bulb moment is that, did you know if you save 100 shillings per day, at the end of the year, you'll have your in 1 year's time, that's 365 days, you'll have your 36,500 shillings. Multiply by 10 years, that could be 365,000 Kenya shillings. So those are basically my parting shots, my light bulbs out of this session. Thank you.
Thank you too, Faith. So our last question is, mention one other way that we have said about making money. One other way that you can make money apart from your income that we have mentioned. So as we wait for our winner, our last special winner, we can see that Kibet Basben is asking Faith that, I have been saving for the last 6 months. Can I qualify for a loan?
Qualifying for a loan is dependent on certain factors. One, do you want to use that money you have saved as security for your loan? So in that case, my answer is yes, you can give you a cash covered loan against your savings. 2, do you have an income? And remember, when we lend you money from the bank, what money do we normally lend you as a customer? A customer who has saved their money brings it to the bank. Another customer comes and borrows the money so that they could use it. So at the end of the day, we have to recover that money. So the first reason why we lend you money is because you have an income, and the income has to be consistent. And by this, I'm talking about what's your source for repaying the loan. The income justifies that source for your loan repayment. So if you have an income, yes, you can come over, we discuss. And income can be salary or business income. You can come over and we look at it. And yes, we could also give you a cash covered facility.
Thank you so much, Faith, for that. So we were buying time to get our lucky special winner of this that you will be getting from NCBA. And our winner is, wow. Wait. Grace Kagenda Mbuluku. She has said starting a business. And she was the first one to answer. We can see Coco Chep says, knock off your peer pressure. Grace also says stocks. Veritab Tapkilili says, use your other skills. Gashihi Jennifer says, investment. And Coco Chep also says, invest. So Grace Kagenda inbox us, and everybody else who has won our prizes from NCBA. We hope that you'll be able to inbox us your contact details so that we reach out to you. And in case you get this gift bag, please take a photo with it. Tag us at Pulse Live Kenya and also tag NCBA. Thank you so much for everybody who's tuned in today, for everybody who's participated, for everybody who's learned. And we are really looking forward to giving you more advice and more insights from the professionals. So thank you and see you next time. I'm your girl, the cherry on top. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, our viewers. Remember, you can follow us on our NCBA page. We're looking forward to you joining us in our next subject. So keep watching out on our page. There are exciting things happening. Thank you very much and have a nice time. Wow. It went well. Much well.